right, everybody, man. Happy Mardi Gras, happy Lundi Gras to everyone. First of all, man, a lot of things going down in New Orleans, so everyone be safe out there. First and foremost, but look at it, man. Playoffs, just like that. We're here in the playoff season, playoff mode already, man. Hopefully the connection stays pretty good. Wi-Fi was struggling a little bit. Cell phone service is definitely struggling, so we're gonna try to do the best we can. Like we said, we got a lot of people in the city of New Orleans. Coach Kendrick, man, what's going on, man? It's definitely the best time of year for any girls basketball fans out there. You ready for some playoffs?
Playoffs, man. Playoffs. Let the predictions begin, man.
I love it, man. We're going to jump right into it. We got a lot to take care of.
Hey,
It is not as many games as it has been in years past with the the buys and everything going on. So we'll just kind of do the best we can, rock and roll. Trying to keep an eye on the LHSAA website as games are starting to get implemented. Coaches are agreeing on times and stuff like that. Games have to be played by 2:15. Some games are going to be played a little early, but I don't think too many of them will be with that's going to be Valentine's Day. So most games will be played on 2:15, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. But first things first, let's go ahead and jump into Division One select top five. You can
non-select.
non-select. You can kind of jump in as you wish, but don't have to jump in at all. So those that don't know, Coach Kendrick is back in the game. He's at Parkway, so he's in this division here. Don't want to get too much bulletin material for any of the other teams, but looking at this one, Walker's a team to beat. Walker's a team to catch up to. Everyone's rocking and rolling. Walker, for those that don't know, is now getting votes for a national team. I think they're in like top 30, something like that. Their only loss coming to Duncanville. Got a phone call today from Max Preps, kind of checking in on them. I do believe that is the best team in the state, regardless of classification, especially with some injuries to some other teams. Some other teams getting banged up. So Walker, it's kind of crazy. Like I don't think this is Walker's most talented team as far as Division One and next level stuff like that, but it's definitely one of their deepest teams for sure. So Walker's gonna be a team to beat. They're sitting there at the number one seed, and I can't help but see, like, when we're talking about this stuff like bad draws, you got Parkway, Southside. Southside had the best year they've had in program history, season history, and if they win their first game, they're drawing Parkway, and defending state champs. And if they win that game, well, then you get Walker, and then if you win that game, then you get to a state championship. So as far as like one of the worst draws across the state, regardless of classification, I think Southside got that. They are senior heavy as well, with sprinkling in some of the underclassmen. Some girls that we've seen on the LGR platform, whether it's guards, posts, and then, with Amani Key and company, I think Southside is a team that can make a run, but it's unfortunate that they drew that Walker side of the bracket. You got Halton Airline. You got a lot of matchups that are kind of in the same area. Destrehan, Fontainebleau. Coach, you got anything you want to add to kind of this top side of the bracket? You guys are in that side. Hineville, North Shore. That game could be interesting. That might be game of the week. Whenever it comes down to where LGR is going to go. With all the teams getting a bye, it's kind of a little bit more difficult to find that first game of the week. Last year we went to Chalmette, and I believe it was Ruston, and the game came down to the wire. I could see that North Shore Hineville game kind of being the same way. North Shore is a lot better than 21 seed. They had to forfeit a few games early, so that's a tough matchup, tough draw for Hineville. Coach, what you got? You got anything else you want to add to that? You want to skip on down?
Nah, man, just in this area, that Halton Airline game will probably, especially in the Bossier City area, it's going to be crazy in the city for that game. They both communities support both of their teams, and that's going to be out there at Halton, and it's going to be rocking and rolling in that building.
What did Halton have a home game last year? I remember 2 years ago they had a road game. I actually went to that game.
I think they went on the road last year.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since they have had a home game, so it's really cool to see that they got that 8 seed, where they can get that home game. if they win this one, they actually have 2 home games. So shout out to Halton, and that's definitely a team that we've kind of seen a few teams sprinkle in here and make some jumps up the line as far as program changing, and Halton is definitely one of them. Whenever you play in that tough district year in, year out, just kind of you're bound to get better. And again, shout out to those young ladies and that coaching staff and what they've done over the last 3 years, 4 years, really, just to go from a regular playoff team to a top 8 seed. That's really impressive. Let's go ahead and jump into the bottom half of this bracket. We're going to try to cruise through. You guys, go ahead and comment below. Let us know what you think as well. We're kind of talking about, the top teams, who's got a good draw. We're really trying to find that first game of the week on 215 to kind of go and see. Again, Chalmette versus EA. I think that's going to be another really good game. That could be the LGR game of the week as well. We went to Chalmette last year, like we said. But I could still see them, being a great game down to the wire. Let's see, who else? Ponchatoula Live Oak. I think Ponchatoula is better than the 11 seed that they got. That's a team that I would definitely want to stay away from. They would have Zachary in the second round. That was a barn burner. We saw that at the MLK. That could go either way. That's a tough draw for Zachary. And then whoever wins that game, Zachary, Ponchatoula, that's a tough draw for Mandeville, I believe. Not that Mandeville is not the better team. I think Mandeville is better than everyone in that side of the bracket. Possibly even Dillon Springs as well. But to have to play Ponchatoula or Zachary, somebody that's been in the quarterfinals or the state championship game for the last several years, I think that's a tough draw. I do think Ruston is kind of sneaky sitting in there at 7. We talked about them. They lost last year in the first round. So for them to be now in a position to host 2 home playoff games, kind of make a run at this thing, I think the work that they put in at the beginning of the season and throughout their schedule got a little rocky at some points, but they kind of bounced back. I like Ruston, where that 7 spot is. Natchitoches Central, Benton, district rivalry game there. How has Natchitoches Central been playing? I hadn't had a chance to keep up with them. That's in your area, Coach.
Well, Natchitoches was kind of, if you talk to Coach Nikki, she would probably say they had some good highs and some lows, like every other team has, man. Talked to a kid today on that team, told him, man, they got a good chance here at the 10 spot. Russ, the matchup, I mean, don't get it. Benton is no slouch. You know what I mean? That's a district opponent. And I'm looking up inside this Division 1 here. I see 3 district games. You got Ruston, West Monroe, you got Natchitoches and Benton, and you got Airline and Halton. That's all district games in this area. So it's gonna be rocking and rolling in this area. It's a lot of talent up. I don't think the North get a lot of credit for what they do throughout the year. And it's just unfortunate that we have to bang up on each other and then bang up on each other in the playoffs as well. So it's going to be some good games. Natchitoches has got a good chance at the 10 seed.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Looking at the bracket, especially this one here, not a lot of teams are traveling. You got Washita traveling a long ways, Barb traveling pretty far to Slidell, but, Ruston, West Monroe, Ponchatoula, Live Oak, Chalmette, East St. John, EA. A lot of these games are really close. Hineville, North Shore, like all these games are pretty close. Just kind of weird how the way the bracket fell. Destrehan, Fontainebleau, all those games are really close. Something that I do kind of see that is, I guess, interesting in this one here, especially the bottom side of this bracket, is Slidell upset Dillon Springs last year. So if Slidell gets by Barb, they would have them again second round with an opportunity to upset them. I think that's a good draw for Dillon Springs, though. Having being upset, I think that's somebody that I want to see again. Team that put me out of the playoffs last year. You get an opportunity, a do-over. You don't get that very often in the sports world. So you get an opportunity as a do-over. I think that's something you can really rally behind. And you're not going to overestimate a 15 seed, 18 seed, whoever it is that comes in that either you got Slidell who upset you last year, or you got Barb coming in who made to the top 28 last year. So either one of those is a real easy sell for Dillon Springs to kind of rally the troops And it's not easy to get that first win under your belt in the playoffs, especially when the other team's playing a game. So I love that draw for Denham. I think they'll get by them, and I think because they do get by them, they get that win under their belt. I think you can have them, have a shot to make that top 28 in that championship game. So I love the draw for Denham Springs. What else you got? I mean, I love Denham's draw. Mandeville got a
Yeah,
tough draw with Ponchatoula and Zachary. Southside got a terrible draw. Parkway, I mean, y'all got Walker on y'all side. Got anything else to add? Anybody
nah,
in the
man.
comments?
No. I just looking at some of the comments. Just Tucker Cox there. Division 1 5A's had the last 5 of the last 6 state titles. That's super tough.
And hey,
Yeah,
and that is big time. I think what happens, what you see with that is again Houghton going from on the road to now hosting two freaking playoff games. And that's what like when we talk about iron sharpens iron. That's what we talk about. Great comment there by Coach
yeah.
Cox
So
there.
yeah.
Jumping into Division 1 select side. All right, man. This is where you make your money right here, man. Who you got in this side? This is gonna be a fun one for sure. Was kind of what we thought was Huntington all the way. Now it's kind of spread out. I think this division is a lot deeper than we thought from the start of the
Really?
year, especially looking at St. Thomas More at 8, Woodlawn with a mid-major prospect at 5, St. Stanislaus with all the seniors that they've had. Again, another shout out to that program and what they've done. You used to see St. Stanislaus with a 22 next to their name, and now to see a 4 is really impressive. Shout out to that coaching staff and those young ladies, the parents, everybody's really been on board with them. So it's really cool to see that. Again, you see Liberty, they're still in the mix at 3 with mid-major post player Whitney Hart, Karen Crow. Shout out to LeBlanc, she just committed to uh, Baton Rouge Community College. You got Chappelle, Coach Mike is doing a great job over there, and then you got Curtis. Man, the top 8 are really tough this year in this side. And then you got Lafayette at 10. So go ahead, take us away, man. What's your thoughts overall when looking at this bracket?
Listen, man, in this bracket here, I lean on what I've heard you say for the last 5 years since I've known you. Guards win games. Huntington is loaded with guards. And they are not just any guards, they are D1 caliber guards. All 4 of them. So, and then not to mention they have a freshman that has played lights out in the post this year for them when nobody expected her to, probably, but outside of Huntington, nobody expected her to play like she has in Dupree, and she's played well. Man, they've been number 1 throughout this division all year long. I mean, if anybody's gonna win it, they got to go through Huntington, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's a good point here. Coach Cox talking about Natchez Central has a great draw being away from Walker and Parkway in Division 1 9. So I agree with that too. Looking back at it, who's some people you think in this division that have good draws? Trying to avoid Huntington. Who's got some tough draws? Like I said, you got Lafayette, Grace Paul being banged up. She missed some games. Lafayette, they're defending state champs at 10. That is a tough draw for whoever they run into in the first and second round. Yeah,
I think I didn't see Woodlawn Baton Rouge this year. Looks like at the 5 seed, they're gonna get whoever out of the Northwood, Shreveport, and Alexandria. Alex been banged up all the year. And don't sleep on Northwood Shreveport, man. With the talent they have, I just her name just went blank. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mutan.
Mutan, yeah, Mutan. They didn't have a. They're a lot better team than people suspect they are. Sitting at 12, they're to me they're not a 12 seed. They're higher. Alec, I think they're not a 21 seed. Coach Jimmy, he's done a great job over there, just holding the fort down. He's dealt with some injuries, like you said early, and but I think that's going to be a good game. Draws, I think Liberty getting on the John Curtis side is good. Whitney Hart can those guards match up with to stop Shakai and Daniels and all and them. We're gonna see, man. It looks like this one, like you said, is it's deeper than I guess we thought from the
Yeah,
get go.
I mean, look, the points you brought up definitely opens my eyes. I mean, that top half is just it's really tough. I love St. Stanislaus draw. I think they got away with one, not having to play the Northwood Shreve and I mean Northwood Shreve and Ash. That could be game of the week. That's a tough game. Ash has the shooters and the ability to win games on the road, just if they knock down shots, right?
Right.
Shreve obviously has probably the best player that's playing in the first round in Muton. I think that's pretty easily to say that. We can all agree on that. So at the end of the day, in order to win games, you want to have the best player, right? So if you have the best player, it's going to give them a great opportunity. And whoever wins that game, you got to turn around and play Price and Woodlawn. That is crazy, man. Tough round.
That's a tough draw, bro. Price, you got to.
Tioga, I've seen Tioga. I love Tioga, man. Tioga's got great balance. They don't have the true basketball guard, but they got some young ladies that play softball and other sports that are flat out athletes, you know. And then they've got the size, the length, and everything else. Tioga is going to smoke Bonnabel, and then they're going to play St. Thomas More. That's going to be a tough game right there. And then whoever
And
wins that's got to go to Huntington and win at Huntington in the quarters. That's going to be
shout out to
interesting.
shout out to Coach at Tioga, man. She's been doing it for 36 years, I think it is, something like that. And she's getting ready to retire. This year, they've had the ceremonies for her, and this is her last year. And what she's doing in her last, I think it's 36. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I think I saw something say she's been at Tioga for 35 years. And so what she's doing in her last year on the way out, man, it's magical. And I think that she has the kids playing for her, playing hard, and they're playing with a purpose. And like you say, Tioga's has been in the mix all year long, man.
Absolutely. And you got, I mean, Edna Carr's got a young team. They're really good. Like, there's so many sneaky games in like Coach Price is saying here in the second round. You could have Huntington, who's got all the guards in the world. Edna Carr, who's kind of next up. You got St. Thomas More versus Tioga. That's going to be a great game. Woodlawn versus whoever they play is going to be a great game. I mean, there's so many good matchups. Karen Crow versus Easton is going to be a good one.
So who wins?
Chappelle
I'm
got the
sorry.
worst draw in the world.
Uh, uh,
Being
who
being
wins?
a 7 seed.
Who wins? Scotlandville, Southwood. And Coach Marcus, Coach Bree. First, both of them
That's a
there.
great game too, man. That's a great
Both
game.
of them
Like
at their
that
their school
that
for
might
the
be an
first year.
LGR game of the week too. That might be the Thursday game of the week too, man. Because
Yeah.
like when
So
we're looking for game of the week, we're looking for really close games. That's going to be one that could come down to the wire. Southwood is really put together some great wins, especially early. Racked up a lot of wins. I would guess you could say hobbled to the finish line, but to be an
yeah,
18 seed from where they were at, man, that is very impressive.
that's kind of like you said. Southwood had a tough draw in being in that 158 district, man. With the young kids they have, they're juniors. I think they got one senior. You know what I mean? And she just
Yep,
got, she just came back to them in January. So you know what I mean. So and Coach Bree at Scotlandville's got McDonald who just signed to LSUE.
yep,
Shout out to her. Congratulations on her signing. And that's one of the we figure one of the top kids in our state in the 2024 class. You know what I mean? So
yep,
can Southwood's press be to stop what McDonald can do? We're gonna see.
yep. That's a great point. You guys think Carr would beat Acadiana? Acadiana, man, they're whenever they're not turning the ball over, they're really good. But if you can turn them over, you can score in bunches. I think Carr, being so young, it's going to take him a little bit of time to kind of get things rolling. But if Carr can find a way to turn Acadiana over, that's going to be another good game too. Like I said, that could be a game of the week. With a young Carr, Acadiana lost some of their studs from last year too, so they're semi-young. They're not as young as Carr, but having that home game, you got to kind of go with the home team there. But I would not be shocked if Carr wins, just because Carr's coming. All right, I'll just put it that way. Carr's coming.
They are indeed coming.
Let's go ahead and jump into what we said. Give me Southwood. Coach Mark's got these girls rocking and rolling. Don't forget Southwood's dropping to D2 next year. Those juniors can make a little run with some experience. That's a good point too. Very, very good point. Huntington and John Curtis are definitely on a collision course, man. That's gonna be great, man. That's what's kind of good, man. We're starting to, I would say, starting to get a little bit of hype with the playoffs going around. You know, looking into the matchups, some games that we've kind of seen from the jump. I'm thankful everyone's healthy
Yeah,
now, and I'm praying everyone's going to be healthy. Safe travels, everyone, throughout this whole process over the next 2.5 weeks, man. But
Chris,
go ahead.
Chris, if what Fernandez Graham is saying on the screen here, if that is legit and that's the state title game, don't want to put the cart before the horse. I mean, the horse before the cart here. But if that those two find their way to Hammond and in that state title game, it's coincident they played at the event we had in Benton this summer, remember?
Yep,
And it was a dynamic game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe John Curtis controlled the first half, and then Huntington controlled the second half. So something like that. So it was a good game, and it's going to be a definitely, if that's the state title game. No disrespecting anybody in this bracket. If that's the state title game, it's going to be dynamic.
for sure. Absolutely. I mean, and that's the whole point of having these conversations, man. Of course, talking girls hoops, man. So appreciate everybody in the comments, guys. If you can, man, share the stream for us. Like, comment, subscribe. We're on YouTube as well as Facebook. Live streaming on both. We can pull up comments. This one right here is on Facebook. Shout out to Tioga, like we said earlier. Carr has 4 seniors. Again, like I understand that a lot of these kids, both teams have some seniors, but at the end of the day, I'm talking like the young ladies coming up for Carr or what's going to really get them over the top. So comment below, man. Give us a shout out. The more you guys interact, the better it is for us. Hicks Lady Pirates, man. Coach Cross, shout out, man. Y'all did a phenomenal job. I'll just leave it at that. I did not expect Hicks to be as good as they are. I knew they had the pieces for a new coach to come in and hit the ground running like that, man. We'll get to you guys in a minute, but shout out to Hicks for sure. Division 2, 9 selects up next. Some will call this the Wasserman Invitational. Go ahead, Coach. What you got, man? Put on for
You know,
Wasserman.
sitting in that press room last year, I asked those 4 kids that Coach Rob had with him, did anybody want to go on record saying three-peat? And they said they just got to play one game at a time. They weren't going to go that far, but here they are. They find themselves in a good position to make that come true. So Wasman's definitely shout out to North Dakota, man. Nobody's seen North Dakota as a 17 seed this year. They got a new coach in. And she's got those kids rocking and rolling to do what they did this year. Shout out to North Dakota, man. That's one of the teams. If you had said North Dakota last year, we'd have been like, who? You know what I mean? But you know what I mean.
That's
So
awesome.
that's North Dakota is right there at the 17 seed. Had a good year. I think they finished with only like 4 losses, 17-4, something like that, whatever their record was, and. Shout out to them for the season they've had, man. So Bruce Lee's having a good year as well. He kind of bounced out. He came up to our tournament this year, man. He kind of pulled my leg, tricked me into some games. He's like, man, we're gonna be down this year, but here he is sitting at an 8 seed, so they don't look down to me.
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah. Looking at the top half of the bracket, I'm sure Albany would have loved to have been the 3 seed, man, just to avoid Wasserman. They're unfortunate to get that unfortunate draw of they lost to Wasserman last year, so looking for I guess a rematch in the semis of the state championship game of last year. But before we even get to that, you got LaGrange at 5. Coach Holmes has done a great job, really building LaGrange up from no one knew who LaGrange was, myself included, mispronounced the name, to now every year it's like, oh, yep, here they are again, back at a 5 seed. Here they are again, number 1 seed, back-to-back state champs, So shout out to Coach Holmes. It's awesome to see them back in the mix there at the 5 seed. I like their draw. I think they can match up with Albany. Just got to limit turnovers against that team, man. It's just I can't explain it to you enough. Everybody listening, if you've not been to a Albany girls basketball game in the quarterfinals, if your team is not in it and that's within, I would say, 2 hours, I would go to that game. The freaking stands are packed, slam jam. Like it's really one of those towns. Whenever they go to the state championship, the gas station closes down. They put the sign up and say, "Sorry, we're closed. We went to state." And to see that at a Division II school, a large school like that, but still have that small town feel, man, it's really cool. So Albany gets into the quarterfinal home game. It's going to be really tough for LaGrange to get through that. Iota, um, tough draw with having Albany in the second round again. Whenever you have to go to play at Albany, you get off the bus down by 10. It's not easy. Um, who else in that top half? I think that's kind of about it with that top half of the bracket as far as draws and stuff. Bottom half, let's see. I love Church Point, man. I saw Church Point at the Sugar Bowl. Somebody just texted me saying that they think Church Point is going to be at the top 28. That would not surprise me at all. I love Church Points. They're balanced. They're one of those teams like we talked about last year with St. Thomas More, who has the length, the size, the guard play. They're just so balanced, so deep. Coach Broussard, man, shout out to him. He's been coming to a lot of LGR stuff within the last few years, and it's so cool to see all the teams and the coaches that put in so much extra work over the summer. And then you look up and you see a 6 by a name, a 5 by a name, or you're interviewing them at the state championship game. And it's not coincidence, man. Like the teams that are putting in the extra work, the Midlands, the Oak Hills, all these teams that no one's seen putting in the extra work, coming to events and stuff, Church Point, and putting in the extra work over the summer is paying off, man. So it's awesome to see that. Church Point and Bastrop is a game that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. Bastrop's got the two seniors going to LHSAA. Shout out to those young ladies for that. But I think Church Point's got enough to kind of get over that. Who else is in that bottom half? Iowa's that's a team that I would be scared of, especially as they're
I
getting rocking and rolling.
I would
South
be
Bow,
definitely
man, I
scared
love
of.
South Bow, man. South Bow is so well coached. They've got the size guard play as well to really compete with that. I think South Bow can compete with everybody except for Wiseman, unfortunately.
I think
They are the 2 seed, but I think they are the better team
yes,
than
yes,
everybody
yes.
else.
Yeah, our way, like you said, man, this is gonna be a scary team in the playoffs. Coach is doing her first year there, correct?
Yeah.
She won a state title game last year, and she moves over here. And people are saying, "What's she going? She gonna turn it around? Is it gonna take her time?" And look where she's at. You know what I mean? So, I think that's a tough draw though, because I think her and South Bow are in the same district, correct?
Um.
Yeah,
And
if
who?
I'm not, I think her and South Bowl in the same district, I believe. I may be wrong. And so to have a district game in that quarterfinal, so I could, small towns, Jim's gonna be rocking.
Oh wow, they are. They are. Yeah, they are in the same district. You're correct. So it's like I think it
Yeah,
was a 20-point game already. So
yeah,
that is a good point for sure. Like again, like South Bowl is like Albany, right? Like that quarterfinal game, man. Like whenever you get the teams that make it to the quarterfinal, top 28 a lot. It's so crazy, especially at this Division II, man. Like that's a big town, a big city to be hosting those games. So,
correct.
um, who else? See anything else? Other good matchups? A lot of people talking about Bastrop. I think we kind of slept on Bastrop for the last couple years. I don't think anybody's sleeping on Bastrop anymore. They have had a weaker schedule throughout the years. I think they've kind of juiced it up a little bit this year. I think because of that, they'll be ready. I do think they are still the favorite over Church Point in that quarterfinal game. But let me tell you, like that is a bad draw for Bastrop. Like that is I would rather play Iowa or who else? Who's the 5? I would even rather play LaGrange than Church Point. Honestly, I mean Church Point is just so balanced. I've been really impressed with Church Point, man. Especially seeing them live multiple games at the Sugar Bowl. Who you got any other sleepers in this one?
No, coach, I'm good. It's like I'm with you on board with Bastrop though. Like that's gonna be tough for them with Church Point. You know what I mean? So, but coaches, like you said, they had they beat Ponchatoula this year. They beat Natchitoches this year. So coach seems like he got them battle tested, and it's gonna see if it pays off this year.
Washington versus Bastrop in the state championship. That would be fun, huh?
That would be fun. Part three, right? But I think but Watson's got the best of them pretty easily there for the last two, last week. So they're in the same district. Now it'll be fun because you're gonna have all of Northeast Louisiana
Yep.
in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that'll be crazy.
Yeah, and we're talking about Bruley here, Ponte. I mean, that is Bruley really got a tough draw, man. Like they're 8, you got Wiseman on that side. If Bruley's 7, you got South Bow. Bruley could beat South Bow. Bruley can't beat Wiseman. Bruley could beat everybody except for Wiseman. Like that's just a tough draw. Like, you don't want to be on that top half. That's just a terrible draw. Like Bruley again probably got the worst draw out of definitely out of
Yeah,
this bracket, arguably
that's
the
how
worst
it.
bracket draw. Because like Bruley is tough. They've got the 2 guards. One can score. One can create plays. Maybe Washington can get in some foul trouble. That's a scary team for Washington to see too in the quarters. Um, they're pretty good. They're better than the 8 seed. That's for sure. I'll give them that. So that's unfortunate. I mean, Bruley's done a great job over the past few years too. Again, you just look up and you always see them in the quarterfinals. Them Lagrange, Albany, South Bow. Bashop's done a great job over the last few years. There's a lot of teams in this division have been there year in year out, man. And I shout out to them, man. I mean, the rest of this division's got to step up, honestly. Like Church Point's got an opportunity, Iowa's got an opportunity, and really that might be it. Like I don't know if anybody else can knock off the teams that have been here. Like when you're looking at this bracket, it's the same teams for the last 4 years, probably 3-4 years. So shout out to those teams and those programs. Moving into the next one, what do we got? Is this Division Two Select, man? Go ahead, take us away, man. We'll catch up on this
Lafayette
conference.
Christian show. Lafayette Christian. Shout out to Coach Arrow, man, and probably, well, I know probably too, the best player in the state of Louisiana, Jada Richard. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Booker T, Washington, Shreveport, and Willow School, it's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? St. Louis. When you lose all the firepower that they lost with Paris and company losing the coach, it's even fortunate that they're even in the playoffs. And
Are there
so
any teams that you think can compete or can beat LCA? First of all, in the comments is I need to check on the young lady with Samuels. I don't know an update on Samuels. I need to kind of get back with that. But without Samuels, without having that extra playmaker, man, LCA, we've seen it is beatable. I mean, they've been beaten. Richard put them on her back, and they snuck by Wiseman. Lab beat them. Who else? Someone else beat them as well. So I mean, they are beatable. Can anyone in this bracket beat them? I guess is the question.
LCA, where they get beat at? Oh, out in Duncanville, right? They got beat in Duncanville, but in the
They lost
state,
to Southern Lab beat them.
Southern Lab. Yeah, Southern Lab beat them was the only one in the state, correct? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Oak Hill took them into overtime.
Correct. Yeah, that. Yep, I see it overtime. So it was tough. So like you said, Samuel's going to play a big role in that, but I don't see an Oak Hill. I don't see a Southern Lab in this division, and so that's just my opinion, man. No disrespect to anybody else, but when you got Jada Richard, she's gonna be big bucket Jada Richard, and when she puts that cape on, man, and she locks in, I'm sure she's gonna go out. These are possibly last 5 games of her high school career.
Yep.
Then she'll walk on to LSU campus. You know what I mean? One can only imagine she's gonna go out with a bang, and she's gonna put on a show. We'll be sitting here like we was last year. I don't know what record did she break last. That was Paris that broke the records last year.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So I'm sure we'll be sitting in Hammond in the University Center talking about Jerry Richard's about to break the state title record.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, with this comment here, Coach Price saying Samuel should be back next week. I've seen that she was working out and trying to get back. So shout out to that young lady. If Samuels is back, then it goes to show. I mean, shout out to Samuels. Like she is who we thought she was. And it's unfortunate that in order for everyone to see that, you have to remove someone. Like once she was removed from that team, you really got to see just how important she was. Whenever it comes to the box and one, trying on twos on Richard, like they would give the ball to Samuels, and Samuels would be the one making the play. It's a lot easier whenever it's 3-on-2 or 4-on-3, whatever it was. But at the end of the day, having that extra playmaker outside of your guard plays, she just made everyone else better. So Samuels is really helped LCA get over the top. So if she can get back healthy, I don't think anyone can compete with LCA. But if she's a little lingering, or if there's foul trouble, rolled ankle, whatever, I do think Madison Prep and Vanderbilt Catholic have the horses to get there and compete. You got to obviously get the ball out of Richard, or out of her hands, right? And that's what Southern Lab. Shout out to Coach Cheney. They ran a full court box and one. They were trapping, double teaming, still pressing. Really just wore that team down. And then whenever you just have Samuels not another playmaker on the bench, unfortunate due to injury, and just wore LCA down. And then they gave them an opportunity. You saw the same thing with Oak Hill. So Prep and Vanderbilt Catholic, whenever you're looking down at the state championship game plan, whoever does win that game, man, you got to go back and look at those two games, right? You got to go back and look at the Oak Hill and the Southern Lab game, and you got to mimic that. At the end of the day, you've got to do as much as you can to speed them up, speed the game up, wear them down on the big court. But at the end of the day, like you said, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Jada Richard has been the man. I think she will continue to be the man. I think they cruise on to another state championship. She'll ride off into the sunset with a whole lot of rings on those fingers. She's kind of running out of fingers, but
Yeah.
this is a fun one, right? Especially whenever you start adding in the possibilities. Madison Prep is a team that I think a lot of people didn't know was going to be as good. Edie White's got a young lady going to Nichols. Bunky is young. Northside is still good. Like there's still some teams in this division that are starting to creep up into kind of punching that ticket into the top 28. It's just going to be, can anybody get over the hump of LCA? Because it's been LCA's division for a long, long time.
Correct.
You got anything else?
Nah, man, it's pretty. We've said enough of that. Don't sleep on De La Salle, man. Don't sleep on De La Salle at the 13th seed. Can they go on? Is Janae healthy enough to them go on a run, get by Edie White, lady of our academy of our lady? This sleeper team. That's my sleeper team on this bracket.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. That's a very good point. De La Salle could beat Edie White. De La Salle could beat Bunky. And then they can line up in the top 28 versus LCA. They don't have the guard play to match up with them, but Bunky plays fast, so that's gonna be a little bit harder. Bunky's gonna be a team to keep an eye on this year and throughout. Edie White's kind of on there. This is their last run, so they got to make it happen this year. It's gonna be interesting to see if we can see. That's an interesting part of the bracket, right? Because Bunky is up and coming. Edie White, this is their year. De La Salle, this is their year, and they're way better than a 13 seed. So that's a very good point. That's an interesting part of the bracket. And then whoever comes out of Madison Prep, Vanderbilt Catholic, I still think they can have a shot. I think it's a lot closer than it has been in the years past with LCA, but always got to lean towards LCA. Let's jump on to the next one, man. Let's see. Division 3 non-select. Rose Pine. Man, what a fun ride that was last year. Getting an opportunity to run it back, man. Bringing everybody back from last year. Coach, man, what you got, man? Division 3 non-select.
Rose Pine is going to be one of the favorites, as you just said. This is going to be one of those hard divisions to pick because you got Doyle sitting at 3, you got Westlake sitting at 4. You got you go down, but you got a meet down at 2. You see what I'm saying? So it could get real tricky in that regional round.
Yeah. Someone talked about Madison Prep peaking at the right time. I do agree with that, man. Madison Prep with Hawkins, Brooklyn Smith. I would assume Gabby's back. In my comments, Mr. Wicker, is Gabby Dotson back? If you got Hawkins, Smith, Gabby, and God, I can't think of the young lady's name. Layla, big girl. That's a tough four. Like Madison Prep is tough. My bad to go back and jump back into that one. Um, with this division here, man, I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't really have a good grasp on it because obviously Rose Pine is really good, but like Westlake, I knew was going to be better. It's awesome to see them at the 4 seed. Uh, they're a team that I think can kind of sneak up on some people. But then you look at their last game versus South Bow, they lost that one by like 16. So I don't know. I think they've got it, but I guess the who beat, was it Basher that beat French Settlement last year? I want to see who's going to come out of that bottom half of this bracket in French Settlement and Westlake. Like both those teams, they owe it to themselves to make that next step. They've been getting to the quarters, the second round. Like who's going to punch that ticket in that part of the bracket to make it to the top 28? That's what I'm most forward and looking to on this side. Seeing Doyle at 3, I did not expect that, man. Shout out to them, that coaching staff over there.
Well, yeah, French Settlement lost to Oakdale, Dole. Looks like Denham Springs. Is that right? Yep,
Yeah, I
Denham.
was saying last year. I forgot who put
Oh,
them
okay,
out.
okay, okay.
I forgot who put them out in the in last year. But like, man, I mean, you're looking at Doyle. Doyle has 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like they're on like a 15-1 record with streak to end the season, with only loss coming to Mass and Prep. So, and they've got to win over French Settlement. So Doyle is the old Doyle that we were used to, making to the top 28 state championship games year in, year out. So that's a tough place to play at for sure. Someone that talked about Mr. Dusty talked about Rose Pine being a tough place to play at. Like this is where it gets to that home court advantage is so important, especially when it gets to the quarterfinals. A quarterfinal home game in these environments is huge, right? And if you're on the road, you got to show up. You got to show up. You got to go to these games. You got to support, your teams and stuff. A Meat is a tough team, man. Like they were banged up early. I like that they were banged up early though, because it allowed for some other girls outside of Brumfield and Miracle to step up. So whenever they came back full force, now instead of being 5 or 6 deep, now they're 7 or 8 deep. I like A Meat to come out of that half of the bracket. And, I could see A Meat coming back and winning that state championship. I think they're a team that could compete with Rose Pine. I think Westlake has the guard play, the physicality to compete with Rose Pine. French Settlement has it's not an easy draw for Rose Pine. They're going to have to go on another historical run. We are talking about how they are rocking and rolling, but this division is a lot closer than it has been in the past.
Yes,
Sterlington
sir.
and Sterlington could make it to the top 20. I can see that. I
It,
haven't
it,
seen
it, it,
Pine. If anyone's seen Pine, I haven't seen them at the 7th seed. That's impressive. Mansfield at the 10. Have you seen Mansfield? I haven't seen them.
Yeah, I saw them early. Saw Mansfield early. They struggled early, but coach got them really rocking and rolling. Man, they were nobody saw them competing with Lakeview in their district for the state. I mean, for the district title. Everybody thought Lakeview was just going to run over them. There they were. They surprised Lakeview and beat them. So they had a head-to-head tiebreaker. Yeah. So nobody saw them competing with Lakeview and what they got there for the division district title, but they did, and so Coach Neal got that the wrong righted, and they're rocking out right now. They put some
Yeah.
pieces together. They had a transfer come in, and she's helped them out in a big way. Guard wins games, man, and
Yep.
they're rocking and rolling at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so First Settlement lost to Westlake, so that's even more like interesting. Like the rematch, like I think it's going to come down to French Settlement and Westlake for sure in the quarters right there, and that's French Settlement's going to travel very well, so Westlake's going to have to show up, or that could turn into a French Settlement gym on the road in the quarters. But that's going to be really fun to see, and whoever does punch that ticket and get over the hump, get themselves back into that top 28. Congratulations, because you're going to have arguably Rose, but you're going to have the defending state champs in the top 28, so it doesn't get any easier. But that is a good story there. Westlake French Summit rematch. Definitely no one's sleeping on Sterlington. I see that comment right there. I love that. I love Sterlington. I could, like I said, I could see them at. That's probably the highest seed I could see making to the top 28. I'm not sure about Pine, Springfield. I don't think they can get past Rose Pine, although they are balanced and whatnot. It's a tough draw having Rose Pine. I think Springfield could have beat the other 2, 3, 4 seed, but I don't think they can beat Rose Pine. So Sterlington is probably the highest seed I could see making it to the top 28 and arguably a state championship. Sterlington, shout out to them. That is a team to keep an eye on. Anything else in this one, man? You want to move on? Winfield, someone commented about Winfield, man. Winfield made a crazy run last year. Wouldn't be shocked. Like, they strike magic again. It's unfortunate they got to go to a meet. That's a tough draw, but it was a fun ride last year, man. I agree. Winfield. Let's see.
Division 3 select.
Division 3 select. Yes, sir. Dang, did I miss
I hadn't really seen this division. I mean, this division a lot, man. So I'm gonna let you take it away there.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect, but this is not the stronger of the divisions. But with that being said, I think it's another one that is wide open. You know, you got the Parkview Baptist who really had everybody back from last year's team, despite being
Did you just say Parkview Baptist?
Parkview, yes, sir. Your favorite squad, man. They're back in.
Book it. I'm not picking against them this year. Book it. Parkview Baptist this year.
I love it, man. So Parkview Baptist, in my opinion, is probably the favorite. Dunham is the 1 seed. Shout out to them, and again, another program that's been on the cusp year in, year out. So it's great to see them back in the mix again. Academy of Sacred Heart in New Orleans, man, with a 5 seed. No disrespect, but they used to be one of the weaker teams in the area of New Orleans. And for them to win district, hats off to those ladies and that coaching staff. It is really awesome to see, especially them being a 5 seed. So they get the bye in the first round, host second round, and go into the quarterfinals for an opportunity at top 28. Man, that is one of the best cross-country programs in the entire state. For them to have an opportunity in basketball this year is really awesome, man. So want to give them a shout-out. Newman as an 8 seed. Again, we already know they got probably the best 2 bigs in the state. Guards do win games, unfortunately, but if they can slow the game down. I haven't seen Dunham. I don't know how they play. If someone can comment below if Dunham plays up and down or they're more of a half-court team. If they're more of a half-court team, that's a bad draw for Dunham. You can see Newman kind of make some runs there. University Lab is a good squad, man. They're a good squad. They've been a team that's won several state championships, been to the quarterfinals. I believe it was like 13 years in a row, something crazy like that. So they're a team that's used to getting into the quarterfinals and make it to the top 28. They've got what I would say is the easiest draw because they get Sacred Heart, who's really never been there in the quarterfinals. Then they turn around and they have Dunham or Newman in the semifinals. You get to avoid Parkview. So I love University Lab's draw. I really like their draw. I think they got a good draw. Holy Savior Menard, a team that was in it last year, plays up and down. It's got a good balance, guard play and inside. They're a team to watch out for. Shout out to that area of basketball, man. Sinlaw basketball has been playing really well when we talk about iron sharpens iron. I think that's a benefit of that is you got Holy Savior Menard being a 3 seed there. Moving down the ranks, St. Mary's, they can compete with anybody if they're healthy. Glenmore, I've had conversation with people about them. I have not seen them, but they play up and down. They're kind of really good in that style of play, so they could be a team that could compete with Parkview Baptist. But yeah, I think Parkview, Holy Savior Mar. I think you're going to see kind of your top end teams make it to the top 28 in this division. But outside of that, man, it's pretty wide open. I think you got a few teams that can sneak in there. Newman at the 8 seed can win a state championship, which is probably one of the highest seeds that you'll see in 8 seed. Dunham's up and down, so I appreciate that. So Dunham being up and down is a tough draw for Newman, unfortunately.
Yeah.
U
So
High.
that's just
Let me see the U
gonna
High
be
versus Dunham game. I'm sure they played. Go ahead. What you say?
yeah, gonna be wide open in that division. I learned my lesson. Like I said, I learned my lesson last year with that division, man, and that crowd let me have it in the University Center. I'm gonna ride with Parkview.
And University Lab has beat Parkview, so they beat Parkview by 13 at Parkview. So
Well, there you go. To
University
beat a
Lab
man, you
is
got to put the man.
definitely not a team to sleep on for sure. So University Lab may arguably be the favorite to kind of come out of that side. I can't believe Dunham and University Lab did not play, but let's see who else does Dunham lost to. Dunham lost to Parkview by 16. So yeah, I think University Lab's probably the better team on that side. And then they'll just take on the winner out of Holy Savior Menard or Parkview. It's going to be an interesting division here, man. A lot of different teams can compete. Jumping into Division 4 non-select. Go ahead and get us back on track here, Coach. Arcadia.
The division for non-select. This is the division where you find Arcadia.
Yep,
Uh, one of the top teams in the state with the guards they have. Got Justice Young playing real good basketball. Small school, but they are rocking and rolling. Um, I think I like in this bracket. I really like Lakeview's draw. Lakeview at the 5. Got to go to, if possible, if they can make it by West St. John, Maryville, Franklin, possibly LaSalle in the quarters. I really like Lakeview's draw. And when you talk about Justice Young, you talk about the Asia Alexandria and the young kids there, Alexandria, could they possibly go against Lakeview and Timberland, Washington? I'm going Timberland Washington all day with that one. That kid has showed relentlessly up and down every year after year. She is not to be counted out.
no doubt.
And the way she wheeled her team back, you were sitting there in that game last year. She was in foul trouble the first half, has to sit most of the first half. But when she came back that third quarter, it made all the difference in the world. State title game, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So it made all the difference in the world. She's not to be counted out. So I really like Lakeview's draw there.
Yeah, I like Lakeview's draw as well. I'm looking at Oak Grove, Bradley. We talked about her all the time. The top big, arguably the best big in the state since Kalani Brown. They're sitting at the 8 seed, and then they would play Oberlin, who can flat out shoot the rock. So that's gonna be a 8-9 game. Is gonna be a great game there. Oak Grove versus Oberlin, a battle of two different styles of game. Banging it inside and banging the three from the outside. So whoever wins that, unfortunately, has to go to Arcadia and play in the quarterfinals. But that's not a eight. Those 8 and 9 teams are two scary teams for Arcadia.
There you
That's
go.
that,
That's what I
that's
said.
that's a scary quarterfinal game for Arcadia.
Yeah.
That's a tough draw for a 1 seed. I'm looking at Oakdale's draw. I like Oakdale's draw a little better than Arcadia is actually at the 2. I think they've got a little easier road back to the quarterfinal. I mean, back to the top 28. At the end of the day, especially when you're a top team and you're 1, 2, 3, 4. You just want to get back into the top 28. Like that's your goal. Like you're taking one game at a time, of course, but whenever you're a coach and you're a program, you're trying to get to the top 28, the final four, and then anything can happen, right? So that's kind of how I look at these things here. Who has the easier draw? Who has a tougher draw? I love what you said about Lakeview. That is a very interesting side of the bracket. Maryville's got one of the best young guards with Cormier coming up. So Cormier versus Washington, that's going to be a fantastic game, right? Both those young ladies probably will combine for 4,000, maybe even 5,000 points by the end of both their careers combined. Pickering's not bad at all, man. That's another team that comes to a lot of LGR stuff over the summer, man. And whenever you come to stuff like that over the summer, you get home games and you upset people because you put in the extra work. So shout out to them. And that's a very interesting side of bracket. I do agree with you that top half bottom is really going to be fun to watch. Moving into the bottom side, Lake Arthur, no one's really talking about them. With Skeeto's got them back at the 3 seed. So they're a team that lost to Oakdale in a barn burner at their place in Oakdale's historic run that they made in winning the state championship. You look at it, it could be a collision course for them to play again in the top 28 game. That's what I'm really excited about. I don't think either one of them have a cakewalk by any means, but I do think they're both the favorite. And I think that's a great storyline rematch of that Lake Arthur versus Oakdale game. Definitely going to be fun. White Castle is another team that I feel is probably the highest seed that I feel could sneak into the top 28 here at 6. They've got the guard play to kind of compete with Lake Arthur. It's going to be very hard to win a quarterfinal game at Lake Arthur. Like Oakdale did last year, man. It took a lot, right? And that kind of propelled them into winning the state championship. So White Castle, if they could find a way to they're in the same boat that Oakdale was in last year, having to go on the road at Lake Arthur. So I like, and I would love to see Lake Arthur Oakdale rematch in the top 28. And I think whoever wins that game is probably the favorite to win the state championship. Actually, even with Arcadia, I think Lake Arthur and Oakdale have got a little bit more experience than
correct.
The bottom half of the bracket's got a little bit more experience than the top half. So that's why I would lean that way. This is a fun one, man. This is a fun one as well. Got a lot of little small matchups that'll be interesting to keep up with. But it's going to be very top heavy at the end of the day. Your higher teams are going to advance, and we'll definitely see, man.
Yeah, I definitely see. Like you said, I agree with you 100%. Arcadia got that tough draw with that 8-9. Yeah, that's, you got probably the best big, like you said, in our state coming into your building as a quarterfinal is going to be tough.
Washington just got some help back. Okay, there we go. So Lakeview back to the finals. That's even more information right there, man. So you can see Lakeview and someone else talking about White Castle having 2 shooters. That 4 or the 5 is kind of what we're keeping an eye on here. That 5 and that 6 seed. Which one of those 2 teams could kind of upset someone along this way? Because you got to go on the road, man. You got to go on the road and win a quarterfinal game, which is not easy at all. Jumping into the Division 5. On the select side, we'll leave non-select for arguably the best for last, in my opinion, man, because that's going to be some really fun, good time, small girls hoops basketball. Division 5 select. It's another division that's very, very top heavy. But it is going to be some really good basketball here, man. What's your thoughts here on Division 5?
You only got 2 games. You only got 2 games this. Well, no, you have no games on Thursday. You got no games on Thursday. This division here starts on next Monday.
Yep, Monday.
Then you only have 2 games, and then they're into the quarterfinals. So you got Jazz Clark. Went through what they went through last year. Still found their way into the state title game. They're back at the number 2 seed. Those kids, when you got Lil Taylor like she is, she's just a stud, man. And she's willing her team. Didn't really find a coach this year, but Coach Ricks stepped up. They've bought in. They believe. And looks like they're back rolling to the J.S. Clark they was before they ran into some adversity last year.
Oh, did I forget Division 4? All right, we'll go back to Division 4 next. I'm sorry. We did forget Division 4. Division
Uh-huh.
5 select. We'll go back to Division 4 after that. Sorry about that. Thank you guys for commenting. I really appreciate it. Again, like it's one thing for us to do this, come on here and talk about it, but the information and the feedback that you guys give, like people comment about East Bow, I do agree with that as well. We didn't speak on it, but I do agree with that. East Bow is a team that can definitely make it tough on people. They're a team that, again, in that area has just continued to get better. It's really, really cool to see the teams in the area that have tough basketball, and I mean tough as in they've been really good for a long time. Like with Halton, like we talked about, and to see them continue to get better. East Bow is definitely a tough team. That's a tough draw for anybody. But Division 5, Oak Hill is definitely the favorite. Everyone's trying to catch them. I think there's only 3 teams that can win state in this division, and that's going to be Oak Hill, Family Christian, and J.S. Clark. So I love that J.S. Clark versus Family Christian game in the top 28. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most. This division is a little weird, like you said, where you're skipping a full week and a half, 10 days, maybe even 12 at a time. No, they're waiting 10 days before they play a game, so that's a long wait. But with that being said, I don't see anybody that can upset one of these top 3 teams even after that long of a wait. I love the phrase here where J.S. Clark's getting behind, rallying behind, unfinished business. I think Family Christian is in the same boat, right? They're it's senior, like behind the senior guard. So I think both those teams are kind of in the same boat, man. I like that they're in a head-on collision for the semifinals. And whoever does win that game, I think is going to have a lot of confidence going into that Oak Hill game. So I think because Family Christian and J.S. Clark are in the same mindset, that's going to give us a great semifinal game. That's going to turn around and give us a great championship game. And I think either one of those teams could make it a little closer than you may think against Oak Hill. But if Oak Hill is shooting the ball like I've seen them shoot the ball the times that I've seen them play, no one's going to be able to compete with them. They get a lot of threes up and they shoot it well. If they do struggle to shoot it, they can kind of shoot themselves into some trouble. But if they do shoot it well, they're going to run away with it. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Let's get into that
Division 4.
4. There we go. Division
Division 4
4 select. Yeah, go ahead, take us away right there. I may have missed it.
Southern Lab, man. Southern Lab is on a mission. They got some unfinished business up in the state title game last year. Kind of let the guard down a little and got beat. And I'm sure coaches probably preached that. Finish the game, finish the game, finish the game all year long. Like you said, we looked up a couple weeks ago, man, and Southern Lab was on a tear, beating everybody. Beat LCA. They were going to get it. They had not dodged any smoke all year long, and that's no way to have it. It's no other way to have it than to go play the best and to measure your team to see where you're at. I would rather lose one before I get to the playoffs. I swear I would. I mean, you cannot dodge smoke and think you're just gonna cakewalk your way to Hammond.
Yeah,
Some teams do. Some teams pay the price for it year after year in after year in. You know what I mean? No shots taken.
absolutely. I mean, to back up what you're saying, I'll just kind of run through. Since January, they played LCA, Karen Crow, Wasman, Ponchatoula, Liberty, Fairview, Vanderbilt Catholic, John Curtis. Since January, you're supposed to be gearing up for district. Everyone's kind
Have
of scared
not
of everybody.
dodged.
That's
Have
since
not
January.
dodged. Have not dodged any smoke, bro.
You go
And
back.
coach
You
has
go back a little further. Madison Prep, Woodlawn BR, Zachary, Natchitoches Central, A Meats, Scotlandville, Walker, like all the way through, man. And I think like you said, even with losing the young lady over the summer, and Foreman and
Foreman.
arguably their best player, this team has really rallied behind. And I'll be honest with you, man. When you have a schedule like that, it could go sideways in a hurry if you're not all in, right? You can lose a couple games. I mean, you see it. They lost 3 games in a row at one stretch, and you can start arguing and bickering and everything else, man. But I think the schedule, like to your point, has brought this team better. Like this brought this team together even more, fighting through all that adversity. So I mean, this is going to be Southern Lab's tournament to lose. Everyone's going to be trying to catch them. I think they definitely have a chip on their shoulder. It is going to be very impressive if they run through the schedule that they went through, run through this state championship with form, like even after losing form, like that is it's been
But
really impressive.
look what they have waiting for them, and possibly, we don't know. Game still got to be played. But sitting at the 2 seat, bro, you have Northwood Lena. You got short stuff in the middle schoolers. You see what I'm saying? Or rocking out, and what the Coopers have done to get that team back rocking and rolling. To be a 2 seat is impressive, and if they can do what they're doing with the middle schools that they have, man, it's going to be impressive. What they're going for a 3P too, right? Man, it's going to be tough. Southern Lab is tough, but to have that game go down like it did last year, if it could be a rematch, oh my God, Hemmings is going to be on fire with that.
Absolutely, and you know what is kind of interesting looking at the rest of the bracket. Playing spoiler, you got Hamilton Christian there with their senior Mackenzie DeVille, got them rocking and rolling. Kayla Hampton, Harding, Kayla Harding. Sorry, I'm throwing out former airline great, but Kayla Harding. The combination of those two guards, and we talk about guards win games. I think Hamilton Christian has enough to get over the hump from top 28 that they were at last year, and I think they can kind of jump into that mix. And that's not a team I would want to see if I'm Southern Lab. Honestly, if I'm Southern Lab, I want to see Northwood Lena. Like it's not that it's hard to get up for a state championship game, but this is what you've been working for. Like you get the opportunity to you get a redo. You don't get that a lot in sports. You don't get a redo a lot in sports. French Summit versus Westlake in the quarterfinal, you get a redo. Again, there's another opportunity that we talked about earlier. You get a redo. You don't get very many redos. So Southern Lab can play Northwood Lena in the state championship game. Northwood Lena going for a three-peat is unbelievable where that program has come from to where it is now. And that is what Southern Lab wants. But I think the spoiler, dark horse, Hamilton Christian could sneak into there. I think Hamilton Christian could give Southern Lab a much tougher game. Again, shout out to Southern Lab, Patan, Kinsley James. There's some other young ladies on that team that are playing really well, man. Really, really, really well. And playing against one of the smallest schools in the state, playing against all the top teams in the state, man. It's tough, man. It is tough to see. Shout out to them. But that's really the only 3 teams that really have a shot, in my opinion. Washita Christian, it's awesome to see them back in the mix. I think I could see them, jump over Sacred Heart. But they're just not going to have enough to beat Southern Lab. It's going to be interesting to see whoever takes that 4th spot. But it's going to be the 1, 2, 3 for sure, in my opinion. In this one, in select side. But it's another good story, man. And shout out to the top half of these coaches in this division over the last, I would say, 4 to 5 years have flat out put in the work. And that is the reason why we're talking about this. That's the reason why we're talking about them for 10, 15 minutes. And we continue to talk about them over the summer and throughout the whole course. They're one of the smallest schools in the state, but they're all these programs are playing against the best, right? Northwood Lena and Southern Lab both have played against all the top teams for the past 3 to 4 years. So, iron sharpens iron, man. It's been great to watch.
Iron sharpens iron. We gonna see. It's gonna be great to see being Hammond if we're fortunate to get that. But Southern Labs, man, it's just I think like you said, as we move on here, but back to that Southern Lab is the team to beat in that division.
Absolutely, man. Again, just hats off, man. Hats off to having that Division 4 being talked about as much as they are year round. Um, Division 5, man, one of the most exciting times of year, girls basketball playoffs. And again, I talk about it every time. If you have it, if your team gets knocked out or something, a quarterfinal, small school basketball, gymnasium in the second round, first round, quarterfinals is the place to be, man. Take a drive, find something. You can find a game within an hour. It's definitely worth your time, man. Um, Shout out to Dusty, man. He's done a fantastic job of keeping us posted in this division. Having roots and being invested. I just really I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate your insight and just being willing to share. At the end of the day, but what's your thoughts, man? Division 5, man. I can't believe Hicks is
Every
number 1, man. I really can't. Not after a coaching change. That is so impressive.
Listen, every last year we were here again, and we saved the kind of the best for last, right? And this division can go either way. Small school basketball, man, is some of the best in Louisiana. And it's gonna be tough to try to see who picked this one because if you go down and you're looking, oh my God, Anacoco's sitting at the 3, but do they run into Fairview? Anacoco's played some big basketball. They gave, and I think it was Anacoco maybe that beat Hicks. I think, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That gave Hicks their Hicks was on like a 20-game winning streak or something like that, and Anacoco goes in and beat them. You see what I'm at Hicks. So it's like this inning. It's gonna be good basketball, man. Like you said, those small towns, they're gonna close the stores down. They're gonna, hey, if you're not in the grocery store by 3 o'clock, sorry, you're gonna have to come back tomorrow. You know what I
that's
mean?
right.
So it's gonna be some good basketball, man. I personally go with what you said earlier. What Hicks has done this year. Nobody expected him after losing their coach that's been there all these years to be the number 1 seed. But coaches came in. She's done a great job. She got the girls to buy into what she was preaching, and they're rolling.
Absolutely, man. And going back to a comment from Dusty, Division 5, non-select, most competitive division, hands down, right? And then with that being said, what he's saying is like anybody from 5 to 10 can definitely make the quarters. Can like you're gonna see opportunities for higher seeds in this division that can make the semifinals in the top 28. And like I literally have goosebumps right now. It is going to be some of the best quarterfinal games that I can recall in a long, long time, top to bottom, man. I mean, you're looking at 4 unreal games in the quarterfinals here. And I'm being selfish. I just kind of hope somebody maybe tries to play early on the 21st, maybe, so you can catch a couple of them. But mark your calendar, man. February 22nd. Make sure you are in a gym in one of these games because it is going to be electric. Looking at a whole, someone commented about Simpson. I think Simpson's got an opportunity. Picken has an opportunity. Man, that 8-9, whoever sneaks by there. We talked about Hicks, being the 1 seed. Now you got to go to another level, right? Now the regular season's over. Now you got to go to the next level, and you got to start winning playoff games as a first year head coach. What happens whenever things go, left or right or whatnot? Like I think that 8-9 is scary, right? Seeing Picken and Simpson in the quarterfinals for Hicks. There's just no easy draws all the way through the quarters. Um, Midland, I love Midland's draw, man. Again, talk about a team. We talked about them earlier that has come to a lot of extra stuff over the summer. Brought the team out. Head coach, and for those that don't know, during summer rules, head coach can coach their team over the summer. And they have sacrificed their summers to continue to get better. and now they're the 4 seed. I love that draw for them. I think their scare is Fairview. So for them to be able to avoid Fairview all the way through to the state championship game, I love Midland's draw, man. I think they're probably my dark horse to win state championship at that 4. They're just a team that I love the balance. They've got the shooter, they've got the point guard, they've got 2 bigs on the inside, they've got the wing. Savoy's playing phenomenal. Man, I like Midland's draw. I really didn't look at it a ton, but I really love Midland's draw. Let's see who else. Hathaway's playing a lot better basketball than they have. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. Hathaway versus Fairview in the quarters. I mean, you're looking at Hathaway versus Fairview in the quarters. Anacoco's got a tough draw in the quarters. Midland, Gibson, Coleman. Like, this just, man, it's going to be fun, man. It is going to be a lot of fun.
Shout out to Castor, man. Castor's, I think they might be the new Walker, man, with that press they got.
Really?
So sitting at the 6 seed is gonna be a tough draw for Anacoco, man.
I haven't seen that. That's all right. That's interesting then. Man, I hate it for Phoenix, man. Whenever their big went down, man, they're way better than a 16 seed. That's not man. Hicks does not have an easy draw. Like, Phoenix is, in my opinion, probably like a 7 or 8 seed. Granted, like I said, they lost arguably their best player, so I mean that stinks. But whenever I was looking at the beginning of the season, I would have seen Phoenix at like the 6, 7, 8 range. So to see them in the first round, that would be brutal for Hicks. And then, like I said, you got the 8, 9 seed. Then you got Midland in the semi. I mean, even where you're at, like, no one really has a good draw. Flip a coin, who wins the state title this division. It is a gauntlet, man. I agree, man. It's just fun, man. And this is what it's all about.
This
like
is
you
one
and
of
I.
those.
Go ahead.
This is one of those divisions, man, where you just sit back and enjoy basketball. You know what I mean? Where everybody's gonna compete on a certain level, and it's like you got the good teams, but at any day, anybody can be beaten because it's so small school basketball in Louisiana is so great to watch. And the one thing you can believe about small school basketball, they give it their all. Sometimes it's the only thing they have to do. You see what I'm saying? And so they're going at it year round, and they're giving it their all. You don't have to force them to get in the gym. They're gonna get in the gym because that's what they want to do, and they're gonna put it all. And the community is behind them. That's the thing. What we take for granted is that the community's all in, and they support their schools, and those kids play for the community that they play for.
Yep. And this is a great comment here. Don't sleep on Bell City. That is actually the team that I was just gonna comment on as far as the highest seed I could see compete in the quarterfinals. I don't know if they have enough to get by Midland. I mean, they arguably could. I do think they have enough to get by Gibson Coleman. I think it's a tough draw for Coleman. But I agree. I like Bell City. I like Summerfield and Bell City at 11 and 12. That is unreal, dude. That is unreal. Both those teams are way better than 11, 12 seed. That is tough, man. Who is Summer? Who is Summer would have cash? Wow. I could see Summer. I could see Summerfield giving Anacoco a run for their money in the quarters. Like, that's tough, man.
Man, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
It's gonna be fun. So, man, it's gonna be fun, man. But again,
playoffs.
Playoff time, baby. We appreciate everybody, man. And we're going on an hour and 22 minutes, man. So I appreciate everybody. Click the like button, man. Comment. I love the interaction from everybody. When we say it takes a village, this is what we're talking about. This is a community here with girls basketball here in Louisiana. So we're going to be releasing our crystal ball updates. Keep an eye out for those. But first of all, man, safe travels to everyone, man. Be careful out there. Good health to all the players and coaches. It is going to be a fun ride. This is going to be a lot of people's last ride. So just enjoy it. Enjoy these times, man. This is some of the best times of your life here, man, especially all these young ladies.
Correct.
Just have fun out there, man. We look forward to seeing everybody at the top 28. But we will definitely be tuning in each round. So this round is Thursday. Next round is Monday. We'll probably jump back on this weekend, maybe even
Let's
Sunday or something. But we'll definitely chop it up prior to the second round.
Man, before we go, man, and like I said, shout out to all the seniors, possibly, playing that last playoffs. Give it all you got. Don't leave anything on the floor. Empty the tank because you can't get tomorrow back. You can't get that game back. So shout out to you guys. Leave it on the floor. Last year we had stars were born in the playoffs. Remember? And so go out with a bang. That's all I can tell you. Go out with a bang and hold your teammates accountable, and go out with a bang. Man, before we get off, I know who we didn't get to see this year: Huntington versus Walker. I think somebody's got an empty gym somewhere. Both of them off this week. Corey Arnold, Brian
You can't. Hey,
Shine.
they can play that game. The LHSAA does allow you to play a game.
You can play that game. Coach Brian Shine, Arnold Walker, Corey Arnold. If you're listening, we the people want to see that game.
That's right, man. That's right, man. Yeah, that was crazy. We were supposed to have that game at the MLK event, man, and with the snow and everything coming through Shreveport, but definitely excited, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Shout out to the coaches going to be cutting up all the film. Shout out to all the young ladies that are going to be putting in the extra time here in these next couple of days. But it's all going to be worth it. Enjoy it, man. Have fun. Enjoy this. Comment below, man. Let us know who we should be going to for LGR Live on Thursday, man. We got to find a game. We're going to be doing a game live Thursday and Monday. Let us know who you want to see. Who's going to be the best game, man? We want overtime games. We want close games. We don't want any blowouts. We want to bring the best game we possibly can to the platform. So